So, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about learning theories. So, as you know, we have three main theories that are behaviorist, cognitivist, and also constructivist. So, in this presentation, I'm going to explain each one of them. So, let's start talking about behaviorism. So, first of all, here in behaviorist learning is understood as a process where behaviors are shaped by stimuli and an environmental stimulus. So here behaviorism has two main forms, the ones that is classical conditioning and also operant conditioning. In the first one, classical conditioning is stated by Ivan Pavlov. It involves learning through association. What this means? So we have a neutral stimulus, okay, that become associated with a significant response. For example, in some rural areas, for example in the coast, people associate the sound of frogs singing with rain. This is because after enough experiences of hearing frogs and also seeing the rain, the frog sounds alone can evoke an expectation of rain. This is important because the sound of the frog is a stimulus, a neutral stimulus that becomes linked to the anticipation of rain. That is a conditional response. On the other hand, we had operant conditioning. So this was emphasized by B.F. Skinner. So he believes that behavior is shaped by reinforcement and also punishment. So the learning is based on the idea of behaviors followed by positive consequences are more likely to be repeated, but behaviors followed by negative consequence or punishment are less likely. For example, we have the reinforcement. Reinforcement strengthens a behavior. Positive reinforcement is adding something pleasant to encourage that behavior. For example, a teacher may add an extra point for the follow of students or maybe by praising them to encourage that behavior in that student. But then we have the negative reinforcement that is maybe removing something unpleasant for the student. For example, the best student of the class will be exempt for the exam. So that is an example of negative reinforcement. On the other hand, we have the punishment. So the main purpose of this is to decrease a behavior, an undesirable behavior. For example, a positive punishment as an bad consequence. For example, if a student didn't do their homework or maybe copy, then they will be assigned to do extra homework, and also it can be reduced that disruptive behavior. But then we have the negative punishment. As the name said, it involves removing something desirable, such as taking away time of recess or maybe taking account that if we are using, for example, a behavior chart, maybe eliminating points or maybe stickers and so on. So by taking away these desirable these desirable items for the student maybe feel bad and I'm going to add again the points or maybe the stickers. So here with the reinforcement that Skinner showed, they play key roles in behavior by making certain actions more or less likely to occur in the future. For example, for this video, I made my nephews to help me. So for reinforce that behavior, I offer him some candies, and also I offer some of my time to play with him in order they can help me with this activity. So let's move on to the next topic, that is cognitivism. So as the name said, when we're talking and learning about cognitive ends, we're talking about the mental processes involved in the way how we think, how we perceive, how we solve problems in different stages of our life. For example, we have the Jean Piaget's developmental stages. So he believed that cognitive development unfolds in stages, 4 stages in total. So first of all, we have the sensory motor stage that becomes from 0 to 2 years. So here the infants, the babies, learn about the world through their senses. So an important word here are the senses and also the action. They begin to understand object permanence, and also they started to explore their world by using, as I said, their senses. We have this example.
Mandarina, eso. Despegue, despegue.
So let's move on to the second stage of Piaget, that is preparational stage. Here the children start using the language and also use symbolism and also visual aids to represent objects. Characteristics of children of this stage is that they are egocentric. It means that they are just viewing the thing in their own point of view, no other's point of view, their own perspective. And also in this stage they are not capable to think logically, and also they are not capable about conservation. So let's see the following example of.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cuántos años tienes? 10. Muy bien. Pollito, mira estos vasitos. Son los mismos los dos, tienen lo mismo los dos. ¿Cuál está más grande? Ninguno, ¿verdad? Sí, pero ahí no hay nada. Entonces, si le ponemos este vaso aquí, ¿cuál tiene más ahora de estos dos? ¿Este o este? ¿Cuál tiene más? Eso. Ok, gracias, Pollo.
Did you see that? So let me explain a little bit about this. So as you can see in the example provided by my nephew, I asked him some questions, so you can see that he's able to understand in the native language about what's your name, or maybe how old are you, in a funny way. And also I tested him the theory of conservation. As you can see, for him, the 2 glasses with water have the same amount. But when I use a bigger recipient for the water, and I put the water there, he thinks that the big one has more than the others, even though he saw that I put the same amount of water in that recipient. So this is important to know, because as you can see here, he's able to speak, and also he's using the language, the native language, of course, and also he's not able to have the principle of conservation. So with the preparational stage clear, let's talk about now the concrete operational stage. So here, children from 7 to 11 years old are able to think in a logical way. They develop their logical reasoning. So here they also are sociocentric, which it means that they can observe other people's viewpoints and also the difference between them. Also here they are able to apply concepts like conservation, also reversibility. For example, here children maybe are able to notice that the same amount of water in 2 different glasses, if we put one of the content of of that glass in another recipient, they will able to think that the amount is the same, because just the recipient changed, but the amount, the liquid into the recipient is the same, so they can notice and also they can understand that. Finally, we have the formal operational stage, the last one of Piaget's development stages. So here, children above 12 years old are able to think in an abstract way. What I mean? Because they are able to think about many possibilities, hypotheses, maybe about predictions or maybe possibilities. They are able to do that. They can think about, for example, if I were millionaire, I will buy a big house in Manhattan. I don't know. It's a possibility, but as is possible in children above 12 years old. So here also they are able to take into account the perspective of other people, and also they are able to do mathematical operation without help. What I mean, without using hands or maybe another kind of tools. So in short, in summary, all of the stages that Piaget talked about, it told us about how we acquire information through these stages. So first of all, we have the sensory motor, how we acquire the knowledge by using our sense. Then we move on to the preparational, where are using, for example, the language and also visual aids to establish concepts, to understand concept. Then we started to think in the concrete operational in a logical way, and then with that logical reasoning we are able to pass to the next stage, that is formal operation, and to think in an abstract way. So it's all about the Piaget's theory. So now let's talk about the Erik Erikson theory. So what we must know about this theory, we have 8 different stages. So the first one is the trust versus mistrust. In other words, infants from 0 to 1 year old learn to trust into their caregivers or parents for comfort and also for basic needs, Then we have the autonomy versus shame and doubt. From children from 1 to 3 years old, they begin to assert independence. What I mean, they started to making choices to what they want to wear or what they want to eat. Then we have the initiative versus guilt from preschoolers from 3 to 6 years old. So they start taking initiative by exploring by themselves and also taking on new activities. So if they feel support, they will feel capable. If not, they might feel guilty for trying. They have this sense of guilt, of course. Then we have the industry versus inferiority. As the name says, is from school-age children from 6 to 12 years old. So here, they strive to achieve competence and also to develop skills and also work. So this is important. Here is important to provide positive feedback, because if we just criticize too much the children, they can lead to feeling to inferiority. They can lead to that type of feeling that are not well for children, of course. Then we have the identity versus role confusion. This is one of the most important stages, I think, because it belongs to the adolescents from 12 to 18 years old, because they started to explore their personal identity, their values, and also their beliefs. So they wanted to be part of a group, or maybe to a generation, for example, the Generation Z, or maybe to a community. So they want to have a strong sense of self, and also if they failure, they can lead. If they fail to encounter their sense or maybe their self, they can feel confused about their role in the society. Then we have the intimacy versus isolation, that is the young adulthood. It is one of the most awkward for me because for most of the young adults, including me, we are searching for meaningful relationships, not just the ones that are for a partner or maybe for a boyfriend or girlfriend. We're talking also about the friendships. So for us, if we are able to form intimacy through these bonds, we can have that feeling of integration, that we belong to a group, and if not, we can have that feelings of isolation or crisis of the age that people said. Then we have the generativity versus stagnation. So here I have a great example. The example is my dad because he is for the middle adulthood from 14 years old and so to 65 years old. So here adults are wanting to here adults wanted to contribute to the society and also to their family. They want to do projects or maybe to have a sense of belonging to their community and to take care of their future generation, and also to have a legacy, to feel productive and not unproductive, because they don't want to feel like a patch. They want to feel that they are needed into the community or into their family.
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Espero que bien. Bueno, mi nombre es Winter Párraga. Me considero un agricultor que trata de siempre experimentar algo nuevo, ¿no? En este caso hemos hecho un pequeño invernadero aquí en esta zona. Es un invernadero que tiene 30 por 12 y estamos cultivando lo que es sandía. Aquí nosotros la tratamos orgánicamente. Tenemos aquí un sistema de riego. Este es un sistema que, bueno, en sí se lo hace por gravedad, por medio de una como es de una válvula solenoide que tenemos allá, con un programador. Tiene su tiempo de, digamos, de riego, que ya está establecido en un programa de un aparatito, un timer que tenemos por ahí. Bueno, es un poquito adelantado para, digamos, para las personas que trabajan en el campo, pero yo me dedico, aparte de la agricultura, en otras cosas más que son relacionadas a electromecánica, y combino las dos cosas para tener resultados mejores. Bien, en este cultivo tenemos aquí unas 50 matitas de sandía, ¿sí? Las cuales aspiramos que tengan unos hermosos frutos. Ya estuvimos haciendo la contabilidad. Tenemos cerca de 50 plantitas, ¿sí? Con un espacio un poco limitado, pero obviamente sí podemos producir. Estamos produciendo aquí para la familia más que todo, ¿sí?
And finally, we have the integrity versus despair. So it's the late adulthood, where they reflect on life. They have this sense of fulfillment if they has, or maybe they can maybe regret about things, and they can lead to despair. So all of these frameworks or maybe theories make us understand that how important is cognitive and social emotional growth into our life. So now let's talk about a little bit about the Bloom's taxonomy. So here in cognitive, this is important because the cognitive, as Bloom states, encourages students to use their cognitive skills to think in a critical way about what they are learning. So here he talk about the hots and also the lots. So in the lower order thinking skills, we have the remember, understand, and apply levels of thinking. So in November, students recall facts and describe concepts. Then in the understand, they explain ideas or concepts. Then we have the applying, because they use this new info into another activity. Then we have the HOTS, that are the higher order thinking skills. So here we start with analyze, because they draw connections among ideas, they compare, and so on. Then also they evaluate, because they justify or stand a decision. And finally, the final level of critical thinking is they create, because they produce new or our original work with the knowledge. So what is important to know here? Because as teachers, we can use this taxonomy to encourage to our students some activities that can enhance their comprehension about that topic. For example, for the lower levels of English, we can use the laws for recall facts, explain, and also to use info into a new situation. And also we can also encourage the critical thinking in our students with higher levels of thinking, by maybe analyzing or maybe giving their opinion or reason that why they think a situation happens, or maybe they can create something new with that information and original work. So an example here, maybe for a student for A1 level in English, we can let's say they are doing a reading activity, so we can use that small paragraph or text to encourage some questions. For example, if in the lower levels, we can start with what are the main characters, or maybe where are the keys, and so on. That type of question they can recall by reading. Then for the HOTS, we can use, for example, questions that make them think. For example, what do you think it happens? Or what would you do if you were the protagonist of that history? So these are some examples that are how we can use this Bloom taxonomy to create activities that can develop the critical thinking of our students. So now let's talk about constructivism. So here is believed that people construct their own knowledge by themselves. So an important figure here is Lev Vygotsky. Why? Because he established how important experience and also the social interaction. So here through the CPT, or maybe in the zone of proximal development, he established the gap when a learning is needed the guidance or maybe the assistance of the McGeo or maybe the more knowledgeable other to gain or maybe to acquire a new ability or maybe to learn something. So here he also established a process that is scaffolding, because it's the guidance from peers and teachers. So in essence, Vygotsky's constructivism showed that learning is not only personal but deeply social. So we need someone to teach us, someone to share that knowledge. So this is important to know that support and collaboration are key important points here. For example, let's say a person wanted to acquire a new language, for example, English. So what we can do, maybe a parent or maybe a teacher of English, that can be the MQO, started to guide that person through the different skills, maybe the speaking, maybe the reading, and the other essential skills to be able to acquire or maybe to learn a language, for example, English. So here, for example, my my sister is learning English, so she has as a Menkyo her teacher, and also she have me as her sister, because I am someone that can master that new language that is for her, that is English, and I can help her with guidance and also with assistance to make the to make her to understand some basic things, and also to develop the her comprehension about the topic, or maybe about the language. So this is all about the learning theories. I really hope you like it, and see you then. Bye.